Let's take a look at the role of bone in maintaining calcium homeostasis. To do this, we need to imagine that the bone is like the bank and calcium is like cash in your wallet. If you have too much cash in your wallet, you would want to deposit the excess cash into the bank. If you have too little cash in your wallet, then you would want to withdraw cash from the bank. So let's use this analogy to understand what happens with calcium. If we were to think about the bloodstream as your wallet, let's start from there. Let's say you have way too much calcium in your bloodstream, then the excess calcium is deposited into the bone. We call this bone deposition, and this is brought about by increased activity of the osteoblasts. Osteoblasts bring about bone deposition. So if you have too little calcium in blood, then you would want to withdraw the calcium, and this is brought about by osteoclast activity. And we call this bone resorption, is the bone releasing the funds or bone releasing the calcium. So it's called bone resorption, and it is brought about by osteoclast activity. So to recap, osteoblasts result in bone formation by adding calcium to the bone and making more bone. Osteoclast activity, on the other hand, does the opposite. It breaks down the bone and releases the calcium into the blood. Let's take an even closer look at calcium homeostasis. When the levels of calcium in blood increase above normal, it is sensed by the thyroid gland, which releases a hormone called calcitonin. The target organ for calcitonin is the bone. When calcitonin acts on the bone, it increases osteoblast activity. And we know that osteoblast activity increases bone deposition. Bone deposition means calcium from the blood is picked up and used for bone formation. So levels of calcium in blood go down and go back to normal. And this is a negative feedback loop. Now let's take a look at the opposite situation. When the blood levels of calcium decrease and go below normal, they are sensed by the parathyroid glands, which release a hormone called parathyroid hormone, or PTH for short. PTH has two target organs, the kidneys and the bone. With the bone, it increases osteoclast activity, which increases bone resorption. Bone resorption means osteolysis occurs and calcium is released from the bone. Think released and resorption. Resorption results in release of calcium, so calcium levels in blood go up. The kidneys help to retain calcium, and that too increases calcium levels in blood. This also takes place in a negative feedback loop, resulting in increasing blood calcium levels.